This is Maths and Scratch Your Brain. My name is Parag Gupta.
I am Yasha Pacholi.
I am Piyush Mehta.
And we'll be presenting on the topic of Fibonacci sequence. The Fibonacci series is a series of whole numbers in which each number is the sum of two preceding numbers, beginning with a 0 and 1. The sequence of Fibonacci numbers would be 0, 1, 1, 2, and etc. It is observed in many different areas, including nature, such as spiral galaxy, flower petals, and even used in such as architecture and computer programming. Uses of Fibonacci sequence in computer programs. Application of Fibonacci numbers include computer algorithms such as Fibonacci search technique and Fibonacci heap data structure, and graphs called Fibonacci cubes used for interconnecting parallel and distributed systems.
Fibonacci series in nature. Mathematics is the science of patterns, and nature exploits just about every pattern there is. As a testament to this quote by Ian Stewart, the Fibonacci sequence appears in the smallest to the largest objects in nature. On the left is the microscopic view of the ovary of an anglerfish, and on the right is the Milky Way. Both the shapes are spirals that grow at the rate of 5, which is the golden ratio. The Fibonacci series can also be observed in a variety of natural phenomena. Nautilus shells are one of the most iconic examples of the Fibonacci sequence, as they follow the proportional increase of 1.61. The progression of the number of spirals in a pine cone from its base also follows the Fibonacci sequence. Other examples are the Romanesque broccolis, eggs, sunflowers, our fingerprints, and snail shells, wherein the spiral shape progresses at the rate of 5. One blogger also applied the Fibonacci sequence to population density and landmass of Africa, and the majority of highly populated cities fall on or close to where the spiral predicts.
Fibonacci series in architecture. Architecture is closely related to nature. In fact, even modern architects today use the Fibonacci series in their designs. Fibonacci series can be seen in architecture which dates back to the Roman era. It can also be seen in the pyramids, as you can see in the picture given. Fibonacci series can also be seen in the Great Parthenon, which was a temple dedicated to the goddess Athena. Thank you for watching.
Imagine that you have a piece of chocolate and you're willing to get more. How can you increase the amount from the same chocolate? Or is it even possible? For this, I have in front of you today a Fibonacci bamboozlement. So first of all, what are Fibonacci numbers? Fibonacci numbers are a sequence of numbers ranging from 0, 1, 1, 2, 3, 5, 8, 13, and so on. So the fundamental of this sequence is that the third number is the sum of the previous two numbers. That is, 1 is the sum of 0 plus 1, 2 is the sum of 1 plus 1, 3 is the sum of 1 plus 2. So we have understood what is Fibonacci, but what actually is a bamboozlement? A bamboozlement is a dissection of a plane shape and subsequent rearrangement of the pieces that appears to result in a change of the total area. Let us now look at the Fibonacci bamboozlement again. Here we have a square of 8 by 8 side, which has an area of 64. As you can see, the triangle here has a base of 3 and a height of 8, and the trapezium here has first side of 5 and the second side of 3. Now we will rearrange this square into a rectangle and hope that the area still remains the same. So now here we have a rectangle of area 65 with sides 5 and 13, and hence we have created one unit more. That means we are rich with a lot of chocolates. But can maths go wrong? Actually, no. So we will now look at the honest diagram. And here we see that an area of 1 square unit left. Now, why is this? If we see the ratio of two Fibonacci numbers, that is 3 by 2 is 1.5, 5 by 3 is 1.667, and 8 by 5 is 1.6, which is close to the golden ratio, which is the ratio of two Fibonacci numbers of 1.618033988749, and which continues. Now, this is because of the mismatched slope between the areas. However, why is this important? The golden ratio has its use in nature, in finance, as well as in computer science. But this looked so great. And this is why the golden ratio is also found in the flowers of the sunflowers and the shells. Actually, while calculating area, we have to use one theorem, which is the Fick's theorem, and is relevant to calculate polygonal area on maps, and can be used to demonstrate that the missing or extra area is exactly 1 square. We use Fick's theorem on a polygon with all B vertices at grid points, as we have here. Count the grid points inside the polygon and call this I. Then the area is equal to I plus B by 2 minus 1. For the dissection, there are always 4 vertices and no internal grid points, giving an area of 0 plus 4 by 2 minus 1, which is equal to 1.
The To make a clinometer, we require a sheet of white paper, a protractor, a straw, any heavy weight. Here I am using an eraser, a string, sellotape, glue stick, and a pair of scissors. First, take your protractor and on the reverse side apply glue. Make sure that you apply it well and uniformly. Once it's done, paste the protractor on the white paper. Now, using a pair of scissors, cut out the paper from the edges of the protractor. Now, take the free end of the string and place it on the center line of the protractor and secure it with sellotape. Now, take the straw and place it on the 180-degree line of the protractor and secure it using sellotape. Now, your clinometer is ready to be used. A clinometer is an instrument which is used to measure the angle of elevation or the angle of depression. For example, if we want to measure the height of a tall building like the Burj Khalifa, then we can't possibly measure it by using a measuring tape. In that case, what we can do is measure the angle of elevation. By using that measure and the concept of trigonometry, we can find out the height of the building. In short, a clinometer helps us to find out the height of tall objects or buildings. It is also known as the tilt indicator.
My name is Amrit Saini. I study in class 12B in the school BGSIPS. Good day to one and all. Hope you are in a good state of health. So my project name is radar. There are many types of radar around the world, but this we can say is a small form or a small version of an electromagnetic radar. Let us first come to the working, then we'll come to the components. So this radar consists of a sensor which consists of a transmitter and a receiver. If any obstacle comes in its range, the red area or the red region displays the presence on its radar. It also shows the angle and the distance of the obstacle, so we can measure the speed of the obstacle by the formula speed is equal to distance upon time. So let's come to the components of the radar. So this is a circometer, and the circometer helps in the rotation of the sensor, and this sensor consists of a transmitter and a receiver as named before. The transmitter transmits the wave, and if any obstacle is present in its range, the transmitted waves get reflected back and received by the receiver. Inside, the sensors are connected to an Arduino Uno board with the help of jumper wire. The purpose of the Arduino board is for programming, and it also collects the data and shows it on the laptop screen. There is another component called the breadboard to which the jumper wires are connected either in series or in parallel. Thank you and have a nice day.
Thakur will be dissecting a rose flower of genus Rosa in the family Roses.
This is a rose flower. It is a bisexual flower as it contains both the androecium as well as the gynoecium. Now this stalk of the flower is called the pedicel or the peduncle. The swollen green part at the tip of the pedicel is called the thalamus. Now there are 4 floral whorls arranged on the thalamus. This flower is a perigynous flower as all the 4 floral whorls are almost at the same level on the thalamus. The outermost floral whorl is called the calyx, which is this one. It is made up of sepals. These green small leaf-like structures are called sepals. If we count them, there are 5 sepals here. 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. That means this flower is a pentamerous flower. Now here the sepals are not united but free, so they are called polysepalous. The next floral whorl is the corona, which contains the petals. The petals are also polypetalous, and if we closely look at the arrangement of the petals, they overlap each other in a particular fashion, which is called twisted aestivation. Now I will remove the petals to show the reproductive organs of the flower. The petals and the sepals are only the accessory organs as they are not directly involved in the reproduction of the flower. This third floral whorl is called the androecium, which is the male reproductive part. It is made up of stamen. These are the stamens, which are polyandrous as they are free. A stamen consists of the stalk, which is called the filament, and above it is the anther, which is a sac-like structure. It is bilobed and it contains pollen grains. The gynoecium contains of 3 parts: stigma, style, and ovary. The topmost part is the stigma on which pollens attach. Then below it, the long and thin part is the style, which transports pollens from the stigma to the ovary. Ovary is the lower swollen part which contains ovules where fertilization actually takes place.
Pollination is the transfer of pollen grains from one flower to another. While bees are the better known pollinators, butterflies do their fair share. Butterflies travel longer distances, ensuring coverage of equal amounts of flowering plants in a larger area. Butterflies like to perch on large flower heads where they hunt nectar, collecting pollen on their legs and body as they search for food. The legs and the butterfly's proboscis are farther away from the flower's pollen, so less pollen is collected by it, but still they are very effective pollinators. They collect pollen grains from one and transfer it to another, covering larger ground, thus helping plant populations grow.
The pistil has the ability to recognize the pollen whether it is of the right type or of the wrong type. If it is of the right type, then the pistil accepts the pollen and promotes post-pollination events that leads to fertilization. The pollen grain germinates on the stigma to produce a pollen tube through one of the germ spores. The contents of the pollen grain move into the pollen tube. Pollen tube grows through the tissues of the stigma and style and reaches the ovary, and it leads to fertilization.
After the pollen tube grows through the tissues of the stigma and style, it reaches the ovary and the egg apparatus. Its contents, which include 2 male gamete and a vegetative nucleus, enter the ovule through the micropyle and then enter one of the synergids through the filiform apparatus. The filiform apparatus present at the micropylar path of the synergids guides the entry of pollen tube. All the events from the deposition of pollen on the stigma until now, where the pollen tubes enter the ovule, are collectively termed as pollen-pistil interaction. Pollen-pistil interaction is a dynamic process which involves pollen recognition. Further promotion of the pollen leads to double fertilization.
After entering one of the synergids, the pollen tube releases the 2 male gametes into the cytoplasm of the synergids. One of the male gamete moves towards the egg cell and fuses with its nucleus, thus completing the syngamy. This results in the formation of a diploid cell, the zygote. The other male gamete moves towards the polar nuclei located in the central cell and fuses with them to produce a triploid primary endosperm nucleus. As this involves the fusion of 3 haploid nuclei, it is termed as triple fusion. Since 2 types of fusions, syngamy and triple fusion, take place in embryo sac, this phenomena is termed as double fertilization.
Start their inspection of the organization, so they start walking. They overhear a conversation between 2 employees.
I need your written permission to send this document across.
How can I give you the permission to send over an agreement? I don't have the authority to do that.
So, then who do I ask?
I don't know.
They notice the principle of authority and responsibility is not being applied. According to the principle of authority and responsibility, authority means the right to give orders and obtain obedience. Responsibility means obligation to perform the job assigned to him. Both go hand in hand. Moving on, they see a scene in the bulletin.
Why did you use the internal promotional tool in our public sales?
I was told to do so by the marketing manager.
Don't listen to him, listen to me.
They notice that the principle of unity of command is not being applied. According to the principle, there should be one and only one boss for every individual employee. If an employee gets orders from two superiors at the same time, the principle of unity of command is violated. While on a round, they saw that a lot of folders, documents, pencils, pens, staplers were scattered all over the office. They were not in their fixed places. They also noticed that the finance files were lying in the marketing team conference room in place of the stationery.
Got a huge bonus this month.
But I didn't get any bonuses, even though I worked for more hours than you.
Well, maybe if you belong to a better caste, you would have gotten a bonus.
So they realized that principle of equity is not being applied. According to the principle of equity, good sense and experience are needed to ensure fairness to all employees who should be treated as fairly as possible. There should be no discrimination against anyone on account of sex, religion, language, caste, belief, or nationality. Now the management inspectors decided to talk to a few employees.
So, what is your overall profit this year?
I'm not sure about that because that information is not shared with us.
They realize that principle of harmony, not discord, is not being applied and there is a class conflict between management and the employees. According to this principle, there should be complete harmony between management and workers and they should work together for achieving organizational goals. Lastly, they saw a department head yelling at an employee.
Why didn't you send me this document yesterday? I was supposed to send it to the founder today.
I was not given any deadline, which led me to believe that it was not urgent.
They realize that the technique of time study is not being applied here. It determines the standard time taken to perform a well-defined job, setting up standard target for workers required to perform a job, characterizing the work in efficient and inefficient categories.
Let us now discuss what is bank merger. It is a situation in which two banks pooling their assets and liability to become a single bank. It was introduced on August 30, 2019 and which would be in effect from April 2020. However, this has been delayed due to COVID-19. In this, 10 public sector banks have been divided into 4 major categories. The first one includes the Punjab National Bank, Oriental Bank of Commerce and United Bank of India. The second includes the Syndicate Bank and the Canara Bank. The third includes the Andhra Bank and the Cooperation Bank and the Union Bank of India. And the fourth includes the Allahabad Bank and Indian Bank. Let us now discuss the benefits of bank merger. Number 1, it leads to increase of lending capacity. Number 2, it makes the bank grow global. Number 3, it also reduces the cost of lending. Now, the main features of the bank merger are, it has reduced the public sector banks from 27 to 12, which also leads to a lot of cost cutting. And in this, the higher members would be given training and thus increase the efficiency of labor. The next point is, for the first time, a chief risk officers will be recruited for market lending compensation. And this bank merger would lead to make India a 5 trillion economy. However, India is still a 3 trillion economy. And it is also said to reduce the bad loans, that is the non-performing assets. Along with this, due to the investment of various foreign companies, it would also increase the foreign direct investment in India. However, there are always certain demerits. Now, the smaller banks were set up to reach out to the much more far-oriented states of the country. However, this merger would reduce the decentralization policy of India, and thus would lead to regional conflicts. Also, the strong banks would now face a lot of pressure because they also have to handle these smaller banks. It also leads to unemployment issues, and the larger banks are also set to face a lot of crisis.
When I say I live by the freedom of expression, I mean that I have the power to fight against oppression, to question various assassinations, and to protect the rights that belong to the citizens of this nation. Let me speak because it's my right. Let me be myself because I know I'm ready to fight.
I live by freedom of expression. I mean that I'm ready to face the challenges and the repercussions of the acts I'm doing out of passion and never letting go of my dreams and aspirations.
When I say I live by the freedom of expression, I mean that I have the invisible wings of imagination which persistently empower my determination. Yes, I also have the right to education, but the only thing that goes missing is the presence of sensitization.
Feelings supersede all reason. Nature will be loved irrespective of season. Everybody's conscience will be sufficed, and nothing illegal. Using profanity will be condemned by all the people. Society will stand for vulnerable and the weakened. That day will begin the era of complete freedom.
I'd like to extend my warm wishes to all. Today, we are here to make you aware of Article 370 and its abrogation.
After the partition of India and Pakistan, the princely states were asked to join either India or Pakistan or none of them. Maharaja Hari Singh decided to join none of them.
Pakistan often found ways to convince Hari Singh into joining Pakistan, but the Pashtun tribal of Pakistan started attacking the area of Kashmir.
Maharaja Hari Singh approached Nehru for seeking help. Nehru kept his interest in front and asked Hari Singh to join India, and also mentioned that India would be dealing with the tribal attacks.
Hence, the instrument of accession was signed and Jammu and Kashmir became a part of India. The deal gave a special status to the state of Jammu and Kashmir in the form of Article 370.
Article 370 was temporary and could be removed by the President on taking permission from the Constituent Assembly of Jammu Kashmir. But this Constituent Assembly was dissolved long back, which created a deadlock.
On 5th August 2019, Article 370 was abrogated. President Ram Nath Kovind passed a presidential order which changed the word Constituent Assembly with Legislative Assembly. Hence, Article 370 was abrogated.
The abrogation of Article 370 has brought many changes to the state in many positive aspects. And so, with that note, it's quite vivid that the world could now expect to see a more prosperous and peaceful J&K, the so-called heaven on the earth.
Good morning, students. Welcome to the new academic session. This academic session is a different one as our schools have turned online due to the ongoing pandemic.
I could have never imagined that one day my study table will become my school.
Previously, we were not allowed to take phones to our schools, but now our school is inside our phone.
Considering the situation, I think this year for the annual trip, we will have a trip to our school building only.
Sometimes my eyes hurt, but at least I can enjoy the comfort of my home.
Change is the necessity of time. We need to update ourselves according to the situations. This pandemic has certainly made us tech savvy. Even the assignments have turned online, like the summer assignments you all made. Let's see some of them.
Good day to one and all present here. I mean, literally. That's how we've been interacting from the past 1.5 years, right? We wake up, do our morning chores, and attend our classes. The online ones, of course. The online mode of schooling may seem easy and fun for a short period of time, considering the fact that you can attend your classes from anywhere you want.
Good morning, students. Welcome to the new academic session. This academic session is a different one as our schools have turned online due to the ongoing pandemic.
I could have never imagined that one day my study table will become my school.
Previously, we were not allowed to take phones to our schools, but now our school is inside our phone.
Considering the situation, I think this year for the annual trip, we will have a trip to our school building only.
Sometimes my eyes hurt, but at least I can enjoy the comfort of my home.
Change is the necessity of time. We need to update ourselves according to the situations. This pandemic has certainly made us tech savvy. Even the assignments have turned online, like the summer assignments you all made. Let's see some of them.
Good day to one and all present here. I mean, literally. That's how we've been interacting from the past 1.5 years, right? We wake up, do our morning chores, and attend our classes. The online ones, of course. The online mode of schooling may seem easy and fun for a short period of time, considering the fact that you can attend your classes from anywhere you want. But, I tell you, for a longer run, it's so not easy and fun. But we do have to consider ourselves a bit blessed. Did I just hear someone ask why? Probably because we aren't the ones struggling for our lives as well as for others outside our safe zone during this pandemic. It's actually a blessing, right? No? Still no? Let me change that for you.
Throwback to the time when roaming around with a bunch of friends wasn't an issue near to time. When we used to buy sanitizers without any necessity but out of curiosity. Waking up every morning for school was one of the toughest tasks. But at least we didn't have to worry about wearing those thick aging masks. When queues existed, but 6 feet distance between people didn't. When fungus existed, but not the ones with various colors tents. COVID has given us various things to worry about. But we have learned a few things too, no doubt. For instance, respecting those working selflessly for us without any complaints and not even a single fuss.
Nobody asks them if they had one problem in the week. Because while we stuff our faces with banana bread, all they did was work and pray. Hats off to the mothers, fathers, brothers and sisters who dress up as frontline workers and leave their own family just to save the lives of others. COVID taught us to be supportive and cooperative because someone in need does not necessarily have to be a friend indeed. We are very blessed to stay back home and spend time with our family as this virus swallows everyone and spares no one, not even a single body. I believe if we take precautions, there is nothing in the world that can harm us. But mind you and I can't work separately. You and I can work together as an us.
I welcome you to La Exposition of Psychology. I have developed the love for this wonderful subject, Rajani. It has impacted my personality in many ways. It has made me more empathetic towards others and also helped me to become non-judgmental.
The psychology students are glad to present our mental health posters. These are not just mere posters, but they are emotions from the bottom of our hearts.
I would like to extend my warm wishes to all. Entrepreneurs often find themselves in trouble while trying to choose a pricing strategy for their products and services. Today, we are going to show you various pricing strategies and the conditions in which they can be used.
First is the cost plus method. It is a simple pricing strategy where a profit margin is added to the cost price of the product. It does not require much calculation or analytics.
Second is penetration method. This pricing strategy is used to enter the market. Here the price of the product is lower as compared to the price of products of the similar or competitive brands. But the audience earned with this pricing strategy can shift to another product if they offer a lower price.
Third is skimming method. Here the price of the product is set high to recover the research and development cost quickly. It is generally used for new innovations and quality conscious customers. The products here are launched with huge levels of advertisement.
The fourth one is variable pricing strategy. Here, different amounts are charged from different customers on the basis of the products they are purchasing and also on the basis of other factors as well.